Hello guys, Sweet Connect is once again back with their next session of dialogues with master homebakers. So, to remind all of you about what Sweet Connect is, we are basically a network of women entrepreneurs pan India. Right now, we have 100 plus homebakers on our network, and we are looking to grow even huge with connecting more homebakers. So, if anybody is watching us, do get in touch with me. We would definitely like to add you to our network. So, getting on with our session, we have Krupa with us this time. She started baking about 10 years back, from very simple sponge cakes to the master creations that cakes that she makes right now is beautiful. They are just works of art. So she is there with us, and I am going to ask her to join in right now. I just accepted her, so she will be joining us in a minute now. Hi Krupa, can you hear me?
Hello
Krupa?
viewers.
I can't hear you.
Oh, is it? Can you hear me now, Libby?
Yeah. Much better, much better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Krupa, welcome to Dialogues with Master Homebakers. So as you know, here we've been talking to other homebakers. So welcome to the show. To start off with, I told the viewers a little bit about yourself, but I'm sure they would want to hear it from you. So if you could just give us a little bit information about yourself in terms of your journey till now, that would
Sure,
be
why not?
great.
First of all, Libby, thank you so much for having me here. Okay, so just to introduce myself, I'm KRUPA SAMPAT, and I'm a home baker. I started my journey of baking 12 years back,
Okay.
and as a professional, it's been 10 years now. So professionally, I started baking in the year 2010, and here I am now.
Okay, so when you're saying 2 years, I mean you've been baking since 12 years and 10 years as a professional. So how did you decide on after 2 years that you wanted to get into this professionally? What gave you that confidence to decide that you can become commercially viable? Because at the end of the day, you are an entrepreneur, and so do you have a business background, or you felt you could?
Well, Libby, to answer this question, first of all, I never planned that I'm going to be a commercial baker. It was not planned at all. It just
Okay.
happened by the way. And secondly, I had no business background.
Okay. So when you're saying, by the way, if you could tell us the story behind the by the way, then
Yeah,
that would be
sure,
great.
sure. Sure, I would love to share that. I would love to go back to those days when I just started. So little in detail, I would like to explain to you how this happened to me. As a kid, I am from a Jain family. As in,
Okay, okay,
my parents, I was born in a Jain family, and as a
okay,
kid, I was super fascinated about cakes. So, having that craze and the craving for cakes, and we would never be able to celebrate a birthday with cake because we were from a Jain family, and we believed, my parents and my grandparents believed that cake में तो अंडा होता ही है, right?
हाँ.
So we would never be able to do a cake cutting. So it would always be some favorite sweet mithai of ours, which my grandmother would make, and we would celebrate a birthday. So that craving and that madness for cake, it was just suppressed. So from that day, that very day, I wanted to bake one good cake for myself.
Okay, the
And
eggless cake.
yeah, so that was something that stayed with me for so many years, that I want to bake, that fascination for cakes and everything. So I really didn't know I would get into this professionally, but however, as a dream, it was like a dream come true if I bake a cake for myself. So then, once I got married and I moved to my husband's house and everything like that, so that was the time when I was not working anymore. I was working for an airline before that. So, but after getting married, working in shifts and everything was not possible. So that's the reason I gave up my job, and then I became like, completely a household kind of a lady. And after having two kids, then was the time, I had to do something. I mean, because everything was done. Everything was done. Now I had to do something for myself, and that is the time, I was just searching for a hobby kind of a thing, where I just got hold of a man who was, icing a cake in a mall. And then
Oh,
I just went up to him and I said, "Bhaiya, mujhe please cake sikha do."
अरे वाह! And he didn't mind teaching you.
Yeah, I mean, he was reluctant, and I'm like, कि आप पैसे भी लेना, I will give you money. Just show me how to make one cake. So then, he actually came to my place, and he kind of, baked a cake and everything. But then, honestly speaking, that didn't work for me at all, because he was a commercial baker. He was from a bakery, and he just got
Okay.
that pre-mixing along with him, and he made
Oh,
a
okay.
sponge. Yeah, so that didn't come long way, but then that was what hit me, like, ab to karna hi hai.
So that
And
time, I
then
guess
I started hunting.
So that time, I guess YouTube was not an age like it is now. So you wouldn't have had access to all YouTube, the things that people have access to now, all these YouTube or going
No,
online
no,
and learning how to do things and all that.
no, not at all, Libby. That was the time I didn't even have that kind of a phone. I was not well equipped with having a laptop, 12, like, 12 years back down the line. We didn't have access to all those things. So what I did was, I just looked up into my home science books, and, I searched for few recipes, or, few cutouts, or that Gujarati recipe show that we used to see in those days. That
Okay,
was,
okay, okay.
I tried things from there, and then I tried, and, somewhere after 2 years, I could bake, a cake, a decent sponge cake.
So an eggless cake, you actually made an eggless cake which tasted really
Yeah,
well, I'm assuming.
yes, yes, yes.
So have you had eggless cake before that, or because you said you were jails and you were not allowed to have cakes, and also have you tried an eggless cake from a bakery? Because I guess there were bakeries who were making eggless cakes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had tried, like, during my college days, once in a while, if there was a birthday, and a cake had come from Bonjani's, and, there was this little tag written eggless over there. In that case, we were
Cooking
allowed
as a
to have
daily
it.
thing. Okay, okay. So which was the very first flavor that you made as a cake, the eggless cake that you made?
Okay, so the first cake that I made was vanilla sponge, and
Okay.
a proper cake with icing that I made, that I remembered distinctly. It was not a normal cake. I made that cake for my husband's birthday, and it was a strawberry fresh cream cake.
So what was the response? Actually, Krupa, if you could adjust the volume or something, it's not very clear when you're saying.
Who is it?
Can't understand properly. Or if you could just come closer or something. I'm not
Sure.
sure. It's not.
Libby, am I audible? Better? Is
Yeah,
it better now?
this is
It
definitely
is, right?
better.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you're talking about the first cake you baked with icing for your husband's birthday, I believe. So
Yeah,
what
for
was
my
the response
husband's
to the
birthday.
cake?
It was a fresh cream strawberry cake, and
Okay.
it was strawberry season, and I had picked up some fresh strawberries, and I didn't know how to use them, so I just used them raw. inside the cake and on top. But then, the family really liked the cake because it tasted like a cake, I can say. The only thing was, it didn't look very pretty. My
Okay.
my cream was little underwhipped. I didn't know how to judge my cream.
Correct. So from that to here, how many cakes did it take you to reach the level that you are right now?
How many cakes? Oh my God. I might have lost the count. It's been 12 years that I'm making cake. But I can say, if I remember, it took me one whole year to get a decent finish on my cake.
Okay. So, and the first cake that you sold, how did that happen? Your first order?
Okay, so usually all the home bakers started this way only. What happens is you keep baking because you love to bake and you want to improvise your baking.
Correct.
So you bake and you carry it everywhere you go.
Correct, correct.
So
I've heard
basically,
that
whenever
saying.
you go to a party or whenever there's a get together, you always like to bake something, little bit, maybe a cake or muffins or brownies or something, and you take along, or you give them to somebody because you are striving to bake, but you cannot eat all of them. So naturally, बांटना होता है हर जगह. Your neighbors and your friends and everybody is loaded with a lot of cake. And that's how, one fine day, one of my very close friends, she asked me, like, if you could bake me a 2 kg cake. That was my first order. That was a 2 kg
Okay.
cake.
2 kg would have
Yeah.
been huge at that time, right? Especially
Yes,
when you're
yes.
starting off.
Yeah, it was little scary. But then, I managed it and it went well. People loved it, and that's how the journey began. And after the first cake, there was a long break for my order cakes. There was like around 2-3 months I didn't bake.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my very next question. After your first order, when did you actually get your second order?
It took around 2-3 months, and then again I had another order from my building itself. Through word of mouth, people घर के cakes बनाने. And just because I was baking only eggless, and
Okay.
people knew that I'm from a Jain family, so mostly people from Jain families, or vegetarian people, they started, ordering from me.
Okay, okay, okay. So that's how, by through word of mouth, your cakes were being sold. So, but the pickup must have been slow, right? Even with the
It was
other.
very slow. And in fact, Libby, I would say that, that was a time कि अगर एक केक का order आ रहा है, and like just half kg cake, there used to be so much of तामझाम, so much of preparation. I would feel कि, have to start 2 days in advance. Because,
Okay.
baking a cake used to be like so much of a big thing. You have to get all the ingredients and everything, and then clear all the mess. So it used to be a very big project for me at that time. So I was very happy, it's going slow.
Okay, so it gave you the time to actually pick up and hone your skills
Yeah,
and things like that. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
true.
So that first order that came, is that when you decided that you want to do this commercially, or as a business, or enter into it as a?
No, 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 never, never,
So it
never.
was
In
still
fact,
it was still a hobby for you.
when my friend asked me if you can bake it for me, I said a yes to her. But then she said you will have to charge. That was the
Okay.
time I was completely zapped. Oh my God, how do I go about this? Like, what if it doesn't turn 2 kg? What if it turns less? What if it doesn't turn good? So many things came to my mind. But then it just happened. I just picked up some courage and then I went for it, saying, "Okay, let's see what happens." And that then, suddenly people started asking me, "Arey, why don't you bake for me? Why don't you bake for me?" Then slowly, steadily, ek ke baad ek, I started saying, "Chalo, why not?" One cake turned out good, so let me go ahead. And to be honest, this is how, when people started tasting my cakes more and more orders poured in. besides orders, even for people who ordered cakes from me, they started demanding for a workshop. And that's how
Okay.
I also started my culinary coaching.
Okay. So when did that begin for you?
So I started teaching cakes just 1 year after I started doing my commercial cakes.
Okay. And
So
when
9 years.
commercial, so the gourmet tales started 10 years back, right? Or
Gourmet
was
Tales was Krupa's Kitchen at that time.
Asha, it was Krupa's Kitchen. That's how you started it.
Yeah, and now it's Gourmet Tales by Krupa's Kitchen. So I just revamped my branding and things like that this year.
Okay, this year. So the gourmet tales.
2020. 2020.
Okay, that's when you rebranded to gourmet.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So we have quite a few people who have joined us. I'm hoping they're watching. There's Gifty, there's Jennifer. Jennifer, she's another baker with me from Chennai. We have Vinit. I'm assuming he's your friend. Deepak, there's Soumya. Hi to all of you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, viewers. Thank you so much for being there with us.
Yeah, so coming back to what we were talking about, so now you in fact I believe you have your own studio as well. So when did that start?
Okay, so just 2 months back, I have just hired a place and I've converted into my studio. Basically, I was more into training. I used to take a lot of workshops all these years. Of course, I used to take orders for cake because that is how I could try new techniques and that passion of cake baking would stay with me. But then
Okay,
during the lockdown time when the workshops, they just shut, people were not in that
correct.
zone and everything started going online with, schools and offices and everything. I couldn't manage doing online workshops. So that is
Okay,
the time I picked up, my orders.
okay, okay.
So I can say I have baked more cakes in those 8 months, which I have not done in these 10 years.
Oh wow, that many. So
Yes.
people were during the lockdown that with the hygiene and sanitization and all, they were happy calling from home bakers, I guess, right?
Yes, yes. I'm very thankful to my society. The society wherein I stay, it's Raheja Serenity, and not a single day that I was not baking for them. That they
And
had
you
so
also,
much of trust in me.
no, but that's really great. When you get support is when you actually go places.
That's
So,
right.
and I believe you also are into other cuisines as well, right? You also started all that. If you could just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Libby, as a kid, as I said, I was passionate about cakes. I am also a big foodie since childhood. And cooking is also something that I enjoy thoroughly, trying different cuisines and different dishes and, making some plated dishes and things like that. So this year, since I have started my studio and I have a dedicated place to work, so I have also added few more things to my kitty. I have come up with ready to use gravies and sauces.
Okay.
Now, these gravies and sauces are something that you can just open, heat, and add whatever you want and eat it. Okay, so all these gravies are completely naturally made. There are no essences, no thickeners, no nuts. They're vegan. Almost all of them are vegan, besides the white pasta sauce. So these are frozen gravies which last for 2.5 years.
So,
Sorry, two and a half months.
okay, so how is the business going? That particular line of your business?
So it's just a beginning. It's been 2 months that I have launched them, but I must say it's doing pretty good, and I see really good prospects in future for them.
Perfect. So now that you are commercially into baking, I mean, and you started your own studio as well. So when at the beginning, like you said, it just happened with you. But once you were into it completely, so how did you plan yourself in terms of financials? Did you have your targets in place, or did you think that any kind of marketing that you did, or anything of that kind did you do?
Yeah, Libby, to be honest, I was a very haywire businesswoman. I didn't keep my accounts in place at all. But then, yeah, slowly and steadily as I went ahead, what I noticed was that, I there was no vacuum, there was no bubble. So as in when I keep moving ahead in my business, I would cover up, whatever I would spend. So I actually didn't bother much about, how it's going, because I knew what I'm doing is really, landing me somewhere. But yeah, managing everything together, yes, it was difficult because when I started, my older one, my younger daughter was 10 months old and my older daughter was 4 years. But yeah, as I would say, as it happens with everybody, even I had a very strong support of my family, my mom, my mother-in-law, my
Okay,
husband,
okay.
of course, without whom I could have not even thought of going ahead.
Correct,
So he
correct.
would do all my babysitting and everything. So that's the way, we both mutually managed it with the support of my mother-in-law.
Okay, okay. So basically, support from family is extremely essential, right? To run a
Absolutely,
business.
absolutely.
So, as a woman entrepreneur, when you're dealing with vendors and other people that you have to deal with eventually as a business person, did you think they
Right.
treated you differently, or did they think they can take you for a ride, or was it? Did you feel any difference in that?
No, 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 Libby, not at all. I don't think that exists anymore. That is not true. I never
Okay.
faced anything like that.
Okay, because a few of others have told me, once when they said they wanted to go and look for a place, the people would, I mean, they would talk to her as if, they would wait for her husband or her father to come and talk to them. They wouldn't take her seriously. Her questions
Oh,
wouldn't
is
be
it?
answered properly. Yeah, a few others have told me that. So I was wondering if that was the case
Okay,
with
so
you
I
as
think I'm lucky enough. I've never faced anything like that. Or maybe I'm quite a strong personality, nobody would do that to me.
Correct. Then you definitely must give some tips to any other woman who is thinking of starting up an entrepreneurship journey like you have. What would you say to these people?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a long list, but cutting it short, I would say that one always has to tap their own talent. Everything cannot just be limited to a hobby. One has to, if you one has to know what you're good at, and if you're good at something, you have a endless journey. So believe in yourself and just go for it. It's okay if you fail. It's okay. So you should have patience and dedication. Just go for it.
Correct. At least a try is must. You shouldn't have the regret that you didn't try.
Right.
So that correct. So I was thinking, I mean, with your 12 years behind you, with so many customers that you interact with, you must be having a certain kind of customer client base. So somebody must be a really good customer, somebody must be a really grouchy customer. So if you could, tell us some funny examples or funny tales of that you must have faced, so that our viewers can have a laugh.
Yeah, sure. Of course, all these years, I've met so many different kind of customers, I can't say good or bad, but yeah, very different from each other. So, yeah, I clearly remember this one gentleman who wanted to order, cupcakes for his wife for her birthday or anniversary or something like that. He wanted a cupcake bouquet. And he was following up with me 1 month prior
Okay,
to the
okay.
date of order. Yeah. He said my order is confirmed and everything was closed, the flavors and everything was closed. And I had quoted him also for the same. So, every 4 days or 5 days, he would call me up and say, "Are you sure you're going to charge me this amount?
Oh,
Are you sure?" I'm like, "Sir, I have already mentioned it to you." Then he asked me, "Why are you charging me so much?" And then was a time when, you know, I had to give him a breakup kind of a thing, like, you know, not a complete breakup of, you know, my business plan or something like that. But yeah, I made him understand that, you know, the brownie cupcakes that you're asking for, they're going to be made with, you know, best ingredients, and then the packaging also plays a role. Then I'll have to
Correct.
arrange for some fresh flowers and things like that. And you know, that day he hung up, and next day he calls me up and says, "Ki, can you send me the pictures of the kind of flowers you want for the cupcakes, or can you send me the image of the basket that you need? That I will come and give it to you. So now you can charge me." So that was
Oh
like, you
my
know, a
God.
little, you know, I mean, it struck me like, I mean, what's wrong with him?
So, I mean, experiences of this kind make you a better person, right? I mean, you're able to deal with so many
Yeah.
people without losing your temper, and you can't even talk back with customers when you really
No,
want to do something about it.
absolutely, absolutely. So all these things are something that teach you something or the other. Such
So, what has
experiences teach
been
you
your
lots.
biggest challenge? What has been your biggest challenge in these 12 years? The biggest challenge that you think you faced as a homemaker?
Well, to be honest, my journey was, I can say, a cakewalk.
Really?
Truly. Yeah, yeah, truly, because it was really effortless. You know, as I said, my husband has taken care of each and everything, you know. Not a time when I wanted something or I needed help and it would have not been arranged for. So, yeah, but however, the most challenging thing that I found was that, you know, when my kids were really young, and
Okay.
yeah, with having two kids around you, you know, with different time schedules, and when the younger one is just not even one, so managing their schedules and their food and everything along with the orders, that phase particularly till the time my younger one turned 2
Okay.
was a challenge. You know, that's how I went very slow. I feel that was a very slow growth.
So how do you maintain your work-life balance? I'm sure your orders come in, and then now you've started your new series. And so how do you maintain your work-life balance? Ensure that you give your proper time. You have 2 kids to the kids, and ensure that you give time to yourself also.
Yeah, yeah. So Libby, now what is the scenario is that, you know, my daughters, I have 2 daughters, and now since they are all grown up, the older one is 15 and the younger one is 12, 11. So now it's such that, you know, at times they take care of me,
Okay.
and I don't have to bother much. They are all independent, and I also have a very sweet help at my home. And in my studio also I have 2 helpers who, you know, who really take care of me. They take care of everything that I need. Everything has to be in place, you know. So there's not much to bother now.
Great. So, and from what I understand from other bakers is that this is like completely back-breaking work. I mean, sometimes you're through the night, you guys are baking, or early in the morning. So, where do you find this motivation to keep doing this over and over, over and over? I mean, you asked me to go to the kitchen. I'm like, I don't, I will run away from it.
Uh, it's only passion, Libby. It's my love for cakes. Truly. What happens, you know, there are times when you really need to, especially when you're working with fondant figurines and the essence which has to be put on the cake, such delicate things, and you know, sometimes they are temperature sensitive also. So we need to work according to that, you know, the temperature or maybe the season. So at times you really want peace also. So that's the reason you're working late nights when, you know, everything else is settled.
Okay. Everything is
So
settled, so you can.
when you get a superb feedback from your customers, and you know, day in day out there are people who are, you know, spreading a word, and you get so many orders through one person, you know, one to other, you know, that's the how it's like one chain. So when these kind of things happen, you really get motivated to do much better than what you're doing.
Yeah, I remember this one customer. We had ordered a cake for the customer through you, and he is in US. Okay, he had ordered the cake for his parents here. So
Okay.
yeah, and they were so happy with the cake. I don't remember if I told you. I think I passed on that comment to you. They said it tasted like death by chocolate. I mean, this you remember Five Spice,
Oh
that
yes.
restaurant? Their pastries were extremely famous, and they were so impressed with that particular cake that you had sent them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember this. Thank you so much for the mention.
Correct. So, what is next for you? I mean, where do you see Krupa next?
Well, it's too early to say where I see myself next, because where I used to see myself next is where I am right now. So I would like to be where I am right now for a few more years, and then let's see where life takes.
Superb, superb. So, let's wind up now. But before we wind up, I just wanted to ask you if you had to, if there is a, if somebody who is watching us who is interested in baking and who would like to become a home baker, or what do you think she should do? I mean, how should she take that first step? I mean, for you it happened, but a lot of people are still hesitant about actually going ahead and doing it. So, any advice that you can give them?
Yeah, sure. See, if somebody is really seriously wanting to, do something really good out of baking, and a person has to have a passion, first of all. Okay, not just because everybody is doing it, one has to do it. I'm sure one has to have a liking to bake. So if a person thinks that he or she is passionate about baking, I would suggest, first just go for a basic level workshop with some good baker, or a really a really good trainer. One has to go and learn, because this is the time right now, in today's uh, generation. I mean, people are too much hooked on to their mobile phone. So I would suggest, don't just be limited to YouTube. Go and systematically learn, because in our times this platform was not available so easily, but nowadays there are so many workshops. So go and learn at least the basic one, and then start practicing. See how it takes, how where it takes you, and then maybe you can, don't stop learning. So you learn
Correct.
and you grow. Yeah, together they go hand in hand.
Correct, correct, correct. Superb, superb, Krupa. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing so much of your knowledge with us. And I'm sure you take so many workshops. I mean, your cakes are anyways fantastic. All my clients are gaga over your cakes. That I'm sure of. And your workshops, I'm sure the people who attend your workshops also move out as excellent bakers. So thank you so much for being with us and spending your time with
Thank you
us.
so much, Libby. Thank you so much for having me here.
Bye.
Bye.